OVICH. I'm the councillor for Ward 1 in the city of Regina. And
what brought you down?
What brought me down? Well, I guess I represent my ward, and I've been hearing a lot of people who are opposed to the call to prayer being on loudspeakers. So I'm in agreement with that. And I believe in freedom of religion. I believe people should be able to practice whatever they want. But I think keep it within your church, keep it within your mosque, keep it within the walls of your church. It doesn't have to be broadcasted in the broader community. And I think the big thing too is, these are words, and words can be interpreted in many different ways. And other people can interpret the words of a prayer in certain ways, which can be both positive and negative, which could create, I think, division in the community. So I guess the bottom line is just, keep it in your church, and let's just keep peace in the neighborhood and keep peace in our city and keep religion separate from the broader community. If you want to have a parade, and if you want to have a picnic, and that's fine, of course. Those are kind of one-offs, right? But, to create something that's going to be consistent, and it's going to be every Friday, and maybe it's going to be maybe not once a day, maybe it ends up being twice a day, and maybe it ends up being more days than one, let's just sort of kind of step back and keep it in our churches and keep it in our places where we worship. And that's as simple as it is.
Obviously, this situation has brought out a lot of discourse in the community at large. People feeling super passionate about it and having a lot of their opinions heard and kind of spreading a different type of rhetoric. How do you feel about that in terms of how people have responded to this and communicated with it online?
Because I guess what I've been hearing, sometimes as soon as you say something negative about something like a prayer like this, people are getting labeled as being bigots and racists, which is wrong. Because I think what's going wrong in our society is as soon as people actually stand up and actually want to oppose something or don't agree with something, all of a sudden they become racist and bigots. I think that's wrong. I think, at the end of the day, let's just keep things in our own churches, in our own mosques, or our own buildings, and let's just keep the peace and let's just move on, because things have been fine. So we don't need to create this sort of tension in our community. That's all.
So it's happening in Regina, but people nationwide have chimed in on it. Do you think it's appropriate that they chime in on it, or do you think it should just be Regina?
Why not? This will become a national thing. Why not? Yeah. Sure.
Do you have a motion that you're going to be bringing to council, or are you just here representing yourself?
I'm representing myself. Am I going to bring a motion? I'm not even sure if legally how it works with the chart. We'd probably have to talk to lawyers and stuff and see where that kind of falls. I can't sort of talk to that right now, really. That's pretty tough. Yeah.
You mentioned it being words and maybe it can be interpreted different ways in the prayer, stuff like that. So in your mind, is it different to being akin to the Catholic Church bells chiming?
Well, bells and words, I think there's a difference, in my opinion. So, and again, everybody can have their own opinion, right? So, yeah.
But the words are in Arabic. Most people, when they hear them, they just hear music. They don't hear any words. They hear words in a different language.
That's a good question.
And
but again, I still think keep it in your church.
But the bells all have meanings, and just because you don't know the meaning doesn't mean that ringing the bells doesn't have a meaning. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yes and no. But I have to disagree with you. So I guess we're going to have agreements and disagreements, right? So I'll leave it at that.
I have a question. I think it's definitely great to have people come out and share their opinions and whatnot, and also obviously share their opinions online. But I think there has been a lot of, it's hard to ignore that there has been a lot of things that are I guess phrases like people should go back to their country or things like that. I think there's a difference between sharing your opinion and I guess. Yeah. So
Yeah.
what are your thoughts on that
Well,
as a city councilor?
I can't control those people. That's what I can say. You know what? I'm not like that, so I can't control those people.
Do you think something like this will bring out more people to share their opinion in that way?
Well, in the negative way?
I get, or like anyway, like do you think something like this, if it were to continue, would kind of encourage more people to speak out, you think?
Well, probably. You would think. You would think so. It's hard for me to speculate, right? Yeah.
So what about statues downtown that are like, specifically anti-choice, anti-abortion statues, or statements like Jesus says or saves on the sides of buildings, which like I, as a non-member of a church, can read them from the public sidewalk. Do you think that those should also be curtailed?
Haven't thought about that. Haven't thought about it yet. But I think there's a big difference when something is just sort of maybe posted versus being 1 kilometer radius in every direction. I think there's a difference there too. So,
What outcome are you hoping to come from this?
personally, I hope that, I hope it goes back to how it was before. Let's just keep it in our churches. You know what? Again, like I said, if you want to have a parade, you want to have a big party, and in those moments, sure. You know what? That's fine. Let's just step back, because things have been working. I've talked to other people of different backgrounds and of Muslim faith as well, and they don't agree with this either. So anyways, it comes from every side, right? That's all. Okay.
Is there anything you'd like to add or anything you want to touch on that maybe we didn't ask?
No, I'm good. Thank you.